Hello, I'm Clifton Fox with the Groesbeck Church of Christ, and this is a 4-minute video meant to encourage you and us during these coronavirus days. Our world is filled with discouragement and fear over the threat of the coronavirus and the economic hard times it's causing and the divisive discontent in our nation. So we're fretting about schools opening and about going back to work and even over when we're going to come back to worship and be among fellowship at church again. As we wrestle with these worries about what tomorrow will look like, we must not lose heart. Take courage that we know that God will be with us until our life does, in fact, come to its end. And then Jesus is going to come back and take us home with him. That's what John chapter 14 says. Jesus said, "Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will return again unto you, and receive you to myself, so that where I am, there you may be also." And so there's Jesus' promise that you need not be troubled. That's the encouragement offered in this food for thought for the family today. An ancient Native American ritual that I once heard of was about how a boy could complete his graduation to manhood. In this ancient American ritual, the father would take his son into the forest, blindfold him, and would leave him there alone. He's required to sit there on the stump where he's left at the whole night long and not remove the blindfold until the rays of the morning sun are shining through that blindfold. And he can't cry out for help to anyone. And then once he survives the night, he has graduated to manhood. He cannot tell the other boys about what went on in this experience, but each lad has to come to that same realization on their own. Well, the boy is naturally terrified. I mean, he can hear all kinds of sounds as he sits there throughout the night, all kinds of noises of wild beasts and of all kinds of wind blowing and the rustling of leaves. Maybe even some human might do him harm, the boy might think. The wind blew, the grass and the earth shook. He sat there stoically, never removing the blindfold. It would be the only way he could become a man. Well, finally, after a horrific night, the sun finally appeared, and the sun's rays would shine through the blindfold, so he removed his blindfold. And it was then and only then that he discovered that his father had been sitting on the stump near him all night long. He had been keeping watch over the boy the entire night, protecting him from harm. You and I too are never alone. Even when we don't know if God is watching over us, he is. There he is, sitting on the stump, as it were, beside us. When troubled time comes, and it does, all we have to do is to reach out, and there he'll be. The moral of the story is just because you can't see God doesn't mean he isn't there. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7 says, so as we face the discouragement and fear over the corona threat, as economic hard times are here and we fret over schools opening and going back to work, or even when we can come back to church and to worship, just trust God and be encouraged to remain faithful. He'll be there to get us through and to bring us back together soon in worship, in work, and in school. One last thought. Please share this encouraging message on Facebook or on Twitter. Send it out in emails with everyone you know so that they can have that same encouragement because they too are going through these troubled times. Have a blessed day.